Sometimes you just have to be really observant with things. As I'm releasing the tension of the suspension after doing the strut rods, I noticed something looked different without looking at it. So I went back and replayed what happened, and now I see that. See that gap open? Weight on, weight off the suspension. She needs a lower ball joint. That sucks. This is the start of a ball joint replacement, lower control arm on a 57 to 59 Plymouth. So some preliminary work that was done in previous sessions was remove the cotter pin and loosen the nut. I also loosened the torsion bar and took some weight off the suspension, so to say, with one of these stands. So the suspension is articulated about 1 inch off of rest position, which would normally have the snubber touching the frame. So now we have a gap there. So there's basically zero weight on this ball joint. So I could easily break that free and then move to remove the ball joint. If you own a forward look era vehicle and plan on doing any suspension work, this tool is exactly what you need. There is a snap-on version. This is the one I use. It's a Moog T412, made in the USA. I've had this since I was probably 18 or 19 years old, so it's been in service for, 25 years of ball joint removal in my world. So I removed the castle nut and washer, and weight is off the suspension. We're just going to work the splitting fork in here. Which should go pretty smoothly unless I get a collision with this AAJ bracket. That means I might have to take all of this apart. Let's see if it slips past it. And it slips past it, look at that. Now we can move to remove the ball joint itself. Let's see if I get this up and out of the way. Yep. So that gives us room to the ball joint now, which I just greased the other day before I knew it had play in it. So here's the first hardcore step, removal of the ball joint. Let's see if the socket goes on with the Zerk fitting. It does. Sometimes you have to take a Zerk fitting out to clear it, but have a nice impact. I have a nice Ingersoll Rand here. I have 150 pounds of air in my tank, and I have the gun turned up, so let's see how easy this one comes out. And the ball joint is out. It's self-threading, and I'll be mindful to hand thread the new one in to the same track that was established originally in the lower control arm. This one obviously was replaced. It's not an original. It actually looks pretty recent, but probably Hecho in China. That's why it developed so much play. So what I did was I wedged the spindle up out of the way with a block of wood. I'm not used to working under these mechanic quote-unquote situations. Normally everything is fresh, clean, powder coated, painted, blasted. But this is more repair shop and stuff you're going to see out in the wild for working stiffs trying to keep their car on the road. So make sure everything's nice and clean. We have a brand new ball joint. Let's see if the threads on this align at all. It's actually a pretty tight fit. I don't know if I like this ball joint. This is something from Cantor. God only knows where it's made. Let's resume with a different brand ball joint. So you'll see the still shots I just took. The outer diameter of this is actually 1.845, and the one that came out was 844, give or take, considering I wasn't really measuring it in a truly scientific fashion. I'm going to try it, just so everybody knows. I don't like to badmouth companies, but this is from Cantor, and I'm just not used to it fitting like that. But the micrometer doesn't lie, so what we'll do is try and send this one in and just see what it feels like. I did pre-lubricate it a little bit. If it goes in square, then it's good. I feel like I have used these in the past. I try to only use NOS Moog for my builds, but let's see what happens. Hopefully the control arm doesn't split. Stop until I think it's home, just because restarting is a little hard, but it looks like it's got 1/8 of an inch to go. Compressor also probably needs to come up a bit. And that is home. Looks good. It's a little false alarm. The Cantor one is acceptable. It's just not the shape of the original or removed part. After the joint is installed, put the Zerk fitting in, I like to give it a little preliminary greasing just to watch the grease infiltrate the joint, because all it has is assembly lube. So once we see grease on top like that, then I put the boot on. I don't know, it's just a mental thing for me to see it come through. But then once the boot's on, we'll fill it till I watch the boot inflate when it's all put back together. All right, so now the dust cover for the boot is on. That piece of wood to fall up out of the way. Aim this on. I had to put a Moog boot on it, even though it's not a Moog product. I realized that one didn't come with the boot nor the washer, so we're going to reuse that washer, but put the nice new castle nut on it. And then that just gets sent home in a new cotter pin, final greasing, and we could call it done. And here we have a completed ball joint installation. Cotter pins in, added cotter pins in other areas that we had some missing, like that upper ball joint. I think that concludes the checks. Or maybe one more cotter pin there, and then we'll be done. Those really never come out, but I don't like having any open spots where there could be a cotter pin, just for DOT safety purposes.